My black. Back again. Another episode of A Muslim and an Atheist Breaks Bread. Pops, what you saying?
I'm good, man.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. You ready? We got our favourite orange spud potato head, dictator, democracy killing, world leader.
Boris Johnson.
You know what? There's no bias here, man. We love Trump, really.
Boris will be back in next.
Yeah, he will, to be fair. Him and Liz Truss holding hands. Right, so I haven't even watched his speech yet, so I want to see it because I'm just going to be honest with you. Again, I hate Trump. No, hate's a strong word. I don't hate him. You get me? I just don't get why people. I'm not even going to say that either because I do get why people like him, and that's part of the problem. I get why people like him, but I just think people have got to fix up, man. Like, just fix up. Stop looking for someone else, like, to solve everything, especially a fool. But I think what's going on now is really going to come back to bite people. I think this is where I'm saying to you, man, like, we're living in a time of decadence. Democracy's dead or dying a slow death. I think we went from the totalitarian dictatorships to liberalism, democracy, and now I think that people are really want that totalitarianism. They want like one person to come and just have absolute power. I think people have forgotten what happens when that happens. So I think we're in a dangerous time. I think there's a lot of destabilisation going on, and I think this is part of it. I feel like when we've allowed capitalism to become so overtly the rule in government, like, don't get me wrong, America's built off capitalism, so is the UK. So it's not that it hasn't been there, but they at least used to try and disguise it with some kind of, we care about the people. Now it's just like, we definitely don't care about you, so, now it's just all outright. They just moved the businessman into the White House, which is madness to me. Crazy. So I haven't watched this speech yet, but people keep talking to me about it, and I said, you know what, I want to watch it and then share my thoughts with the people, so I'm going to jump right into it. This is the speech that Donald Trump and Elon Musk gave in the Oval Office. Now, the reason why I think this is crazy, right, is because we really have to peep that. They're in the Oval Office. That's probably like the most political office you're ever going to get. You got two businessmen. They're talking about democracy and saving democracy. But one of them's never been elected, and he's telling you about how to save democracy. And this man's just making money constantly off, like, spinning this narrative of what he's telling you how to save your democracy. Brother, you're from South Africa. Like, you're not even from America. So why are you telling them about their democracy? That's Musk. I think Musk is a supervillain. I've said it for years, man, but no one was listening. So now it's come to fruition. So let me just press play.
And we're going to be signing a very important deal today. It's Doge, and I'm going to ask Elon to tell you a little bit about it and some of the things that we found, which are shocking. Billions and billions of dollars in waste, fraud, and abuse. And I think it's very important. And that's one of the reasons I got elected. I said, we're going to do that. Nobody had any idea it was that bad, that sick, and that corrupt. And it seems hard to believe that judges want to try and stop us from looking for corruption, especially when we found hundreds of millions of dollars worth, much more than that, in just a short period of time. And we want to weed out the corruption. And it seems hard to believe that a judge could say, we don't want you to do that. Well, so maybe we have to look at the judges, because that's very serious. I think it's a very serious violation. I'll ask Elon Musk to say a few words, and we'll take some questions. Elon, go ahead.
Sure. So
Is that the end of the speech?
at a high level, you say, what is the goal of Doge and I think a significant part of the presidency is to restore democracy. This may seem like, well, aren't we in a democracy? Well, if you don't have a feedback loop, okay, we'd have to, if you sorry. I tell you, gravitas can be difficult sometimes.
Right, first thing first, look at this picture here. Why? Trump's just sitting there like, he don't even know what's going on. I think he's high or something. Elon Musk, brother, why you put your son there, man? This is why I can't take them seriously, you know. Like, and I get it, yeah, we're all in this, like, yeah, like, bring your kid to work there and all that, like, but where's the mum, where's the nanny? Have them sitting in the back. This is a serious thing you're talking to the people about, you're talking about fraud, but you got your youth there just sitting there. Look here, madman. Oh, I can't take these people, you know. Vex me.
Well, with his cap on, I ain't never seen him with a cap on in the White House on a big "I'm the new president" speech there. My man looks rough. What's his crew neck?
But you know that you're saying before, like, you know, there's always been a man behind, like, the president. This is the man. See, Elon Musk. You know, like, you see when I meet people and they go, oh yeah, this is so-and-so, and they introduce you, but really, you know you got the face of a business, and then you know you got the bank in it. The bank's always the power. So, really, look how happy Elon Musk is compared to Trump. Like, he's like, yo, I'm president, like, I'm killing it. Like, that's what, look at him. Jeez.
Something's going on. Because Trump's rich enough without Elon Musk.
Nah, he's not.
Them have money, man.
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. They've got money, but not like
Elon Musk. Well, Elon Musk have the big hole in Africa for dipping in it.
What's that? What's he got? The
Bo's mine is a
that
massive hole that they've been digging since the 1400s in South Africa. About 50 miles deep. Massive thing they've been mining.
Yeah. Well, and he owns it.
Well, whoever owns the beers and them people owns it. He's a prominent
South
person
African
down there,
brothers,
innit?
yeah.
As I say, that's what the Jews set up in South Africa and defended since 1948, bro.
I didn't even know. What's that called?
De Beers, diamonds. Diamond mining company.
Yeah, but what's that specific one you're talking
De
about?
Beer.
De Beer. Let's go.
So, I tell you, gravitas can be difficult sometimes. If there's not a good feedback loop from the people to the government, and if you have rule of the bureaucrat, or if the bureaucracy is in charge, and then what meaning does democracy actually have? If the people cannot vote and have their will be decided by their elected representatives in the form of the president.
Point one, you're telling them about democracy. You are not an elected representative, bro. So why are you
representing the people in that speech, innit?
But about what though? Like,
the people, if the people don't this.
Yeah, how did you know what the people want though? This is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, they just talked about corruption and all this. Like, this is the first thing they come up with. Oh, we've saved 150 million. How? Like, what have you actually done? What's the corruption that's been found? Please tell me. Because at the minute, all I see is you trying to push your cryptocurrency, Doge, and trying to get I don't know if they'll talk about it in this, but my man to say, like, yo, like, NASA's corrupt. I bet you that's going to come out. NASA's corrupt, isn't it? That's what I do. NASA's corrupt. Get rid of NASA, because he owns NASA's biggest competitor, isn't it? That's SpaceX. Yeah, he's going to be like, yo, bro, get rid of NASA and just bring all that P over to SpaceX. Bet you that happens.
We'll see.
And the Senate and the House.
We would get rid of NASA.
Then we don't live in a democracy. We live in a bureaucracy. So it's incredibly important that we close that feedback loop, we fix that feedback loop, and that the public's elected representatives, the President, the House, and the Senate, decide what happens, as opposed to a large, unelected bureaucracy. This is not to say that there are good people who are in the federal bureaucracy, but you can't have an autonomous federal bureaucracy. You have to have one that is responsive to the people. That's the whole point of a democracy. And if you looked at this, if you looked at the founders today and said, what do you think of the way things have turned out? Well, we have this unelected, fourth unconstitutional branch of government, which is the bureaucracy, which has, in a lot of ways, currently more power than any elected representative. And this is not something that people want, and it's not.
You see what everything's going back to now. Give Donald Trump complete power.
Centralized.
Yeah. Like, so this is what I'm saying. Like, it's almost like, you know, the Roman times, and it like he's like Caesar. So they're going back
He was always Caesar. He was always Caesar.
Who? The president.
America is Rome, innit? The American Senate set up exactly the same as the Roman Senate.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is, but it's different, innit? Because you used to have Caesar, who didn't need the
This
Senate.
nobody.
Yeah, didn't need the Senate. And then that was always the back and forth, wasn't it? Like, some thought, oh, we'll give power to the people, let's have the Senate. And then you had the other one where it was like, nah, I am just, bang, that's it. What I say goes.
Yeah.
Well, they're trying to go back to that, but they're just trying to word it in a way to say, like, oh, you know, like, well, all these people aren't elected, so what have they got to do with anything? Like, we should give it back to the people, the person that was elected. So it's like a power play again.
Save money in it. Get rid of all them
I
players and
don't-
just consolidate everything into one spot. Couple people, the big boys making the decisions.
I just don't understand how will I do, because it's money, but what made him think this was a good idea? Like, Trump, like, you got a South African geezer who never been in politics.
Trump's not the best.
Yeah, I know, but I can tell, look at his face, man. He looks like a child. He's just like, he looks like he's been told to sit down and
Absolutely.
be quiet. Just, you be quiet, bro. Let me talk.
Or let Elon talk and you be quiet. If Elon ain't the top man, he's close to the top man.
Yeah.
But Trump ain't the top man. You're the new president.
It does not match the
It
will of
wasn't
people. So
accidental.
it's just something we've got to fix.
wasn't
And we've also got to address the
accidental that he got back in
deficit.
power.
So we've got
You know,
a $2 trillion
campaign
deficit. And if this,
they had all this pre-stuff, so they knew what was coming. And, you know, to knock Biden off the top against Camilla, who would have put Camilla up any sensible party in the first place?
Who would have put Biden up? Foolishness.
Well, them
Whole
say
thing was
that was
foolishness.
just, Obama did say, imagine if I could carry on my presidency from behind the scenes. That's what him did say. And then them give Biden an earpiece so you can hear him when Obama in the room, everybody come greet Obama, walk past Biden. That's at the beginning of the presidency. So I believe Kamala Harris was an extension on that. You know, Biden.
Can I say something about that? That whole president run, like, she had that campaign was the worst campaign ever run, because she had nothing to say. She was stiff, dry. The only thing
The
she
only
had
one
to
that
do
had
was
to
attack
say was
Trump.
what she heard in the headset. Yeah, when she was talking too much. Okay. And then carry on talking all the time.
And she was stupid, man. Like, she tried to, like, go, like, for the women and it, but she just misunderstood them and misrepresented them.
I think.
She tried to basically separate women from their husbands. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, when your husband would be probably telling you to vote for Trump, like, it's like, bro, what are you trying to do, man? Like, you don't understand the people. Like,
She understands. She just stupid, innit?
that's
But
no-
the point
she
was she
don't
was
understand. She's
guaranteed
stupid.
if the people were willing to vote her in, let them have her. Because big business are run, the war Ukraine money thing where they just carry on. Trump come with a different strategy. But boy, who's worse? I go with Trump rather than Kamala Harris.
I don't know about that.
if we don't do something about this deficit, the country's going bankrupt.
Straight.
I mean, it's really astounding that the interest payments alone on the national debt exceed the Defense Department budget, which is shocking, because we spend a lot of money on defense. But and if that just keeps going, we're essentially going to bankrupt the country. So what I really want to say is, like, it's not optional for us to reduce the federal expenses. It's essential. It's essential for America to remain solvent as a country, and it's essential for America to have the resources necessary to provide things to its citizens and not simply be servicing vast amounts of debt.
And the okay thinkers isn't talent. It's what they do with their time.
And also, could you mention some of the things that your team has found, some of the crazy numbers, including the woman that walked away with about 30 million,
right,
etc.?
Well, we do find it sort of rather odd that there are quite a few people in the bureaucracy who have ostensibly a salary of a few $100,000, but somehow manage to accrue tens of millions of dollars in net worth while they are in that position, which is, what happened at USAID. We're just curious as to where it came from. Maybe they're very good at investing, in which case we should take their investment advice, perhaps. But there seems to be.
So basically, right, it's just said there are, there's a lot of people who work in government, like they may earn hundreds of thousands and they get rich. And don't get me wrong, we all know the game, like, yeah, there's funding, there's here and that, and people are taking money. I'm not saying that. But also in the same vein, bro, like, you also do have to understand that people can get rich. How did you get rich? Like, you earn 100. If I earn 100,000, bro, you better believe by the end of it, I want to acquire 30 million because I'm going to have people advising me on how to spend my money. So he's not actually said that anyone's committed a crime. What he's done is has allowed you to use your imagination and like your negative perspective on how rich people make money. So did she commit a crime on that? Or have you just seen that she's got a net worth? You just basically said, oh, her net worth is so basically we're going to throw you under the bus. So you don't know how she made her money. She could have invested it. She could have done this. You don't know. Chief, man's the richest man in the world, just made 169 billion from this speech, and he's talking about how other people make their money.
They get wealthy. We don't know why. Where does it come from? I think the reality is that they're getting wealthy at the taxpayer expense. That's the honest truth of it. So, we're looking at, if you look at, say, Treasury, for example, basic controls that should be in place, that are in place in any company, such as making sure that any given payment has a payment categorization code, that there is a comment field that describes the payment, and that if a payment is on the do not pay list, that you don't actually pay it. None of those things are true currently. So the reason that departments can't pass audits is because the payments don't have a categorization code. It's like just a massive number of blank checks just flying out the building. So you can't reconcile blank checks. You've got comment fields that are also blank, so you don't know why the payment was made. And then we've got this truly absurd, a do not pay list, which can take up to a year for an organization to get on a do not pay list. And this, we're talking about terrorist organizations, we're talking about known fraudsters, known aspects of waste, known things that do not match any congressional appropriation, can take up to a year to get on the list, and even once on the list is not used. It's mind-blowing. So what we're talking about here, we're really just talking about adding common sense controls that should be present, that haven't been present. So you say, like, well, how could such a thing arise? That seems crazy. When you understand that really everything is geared towards complaint minimization, so then you understand the motivations. So if people receive money, they don't complain, obviously. But if people don't receive money, they do complain. And the fraudsters complain the loudest and the fastest. So then when you understand that, then it makes sense. Oh, that's why everything they approve all the payments at Treasury. Because if you approve all the payments, you don't get complaints. But now we're saying that, no, actually, we are going to complain. If money is spent badly, if your taxpayer dollars are not spent in a sensible and frugal manner, then that's not okay. Your tax dollars need to be spent wisely on things that matter to the people. I mean, these things, like, it's just common sense. It's not it's not draconian or radical. I think it's really just saying, let's look at each of these expenditures and say, is this actually in the best interest of the people? And if it is, it's approved. If it's not, we should think about it. So, there's crazy things like just cursory examination of Social Security, and we've got people in there that are 150 years old. Now, do you know anyone who's 150? I don't. Okay. They should be on the Guinness Book of World Records. They're missing out. That's a case where, like, I think they're probably dead. It's my guess. Or they should be very famous, one of the two.
So even this here, right, so your social security number is essentially like, what's it called, isn't it? What do we have? National insurance number, innit? But to them, I think they have like loads of things that run through it, I don't know, but he doesn't work for the government. So why is he able to get access to people's data like that? Like, and listen, not what he's saying is wrong, like, but that's just like systems and checks. Like he said, this isn't like something magical. But surely you know that anyway. It's like when people claim the dole here, like, and they know they can go to work. Like, it's just, you need to have better systems in place to check them things. But why did he need to go in there and talk about that? I don't understand that. What's that got to do? Like, why do you need to go and look at everyone's social security numbers and check everyone's bank
Well, why does he
details
need
and
to
all
talk about it in the speech for the new president?
And why are you even talking? Why is Donald Trump not talking?
Exactly. Man, I ain't said a word yet, bro. You understand? In fact, that youth said more than Donald so far. Where's he disappeared?
And then there are a whole bunch of Social Security payments where there's no identifying information. Well, like, why is there no identifying information? Obviously, we want to make sure that people who deserve to receive Social Security do receive it, and that they receive it quickly and accurately. I'll tell you another crazy thing. So, one of the things is, like, we are trying to sort of right-size the federal bureaucracy, just make sure that this. Obviously, there need to be a lot of people working for the federal government, but not as many as currently. So we're saying, let's, if people can retire, with full benefits and everything, that would be good. They can retire, get their retirement payments and everything. And then we were told, this is actually, I think, a great anecdote, because we were told the most number of people that could retire possibly in a month is 10,000. We're like, well, why is that? Well, because all the retirement paperwork is manual on paper. It's manually calculated, then written down on a piece of paper. Then it goes down a mine. And I'm like, what do you mean a mine? Like, yeah, there's a limestone mine where we store all the retirement paperwork. And you look at a picture of this mine. We'll post some pictures afterwards. And this mine looks like something out of the 50s because it was started in 1955. So it looks like it's like a time warp. And then the speed, the limiting factor is the speed at which the mine shaft elevator can move determines how many people can retire from the federal government. And the elevator breaks down sometimes, and then nobody can.
So I think these two just chat doodle as well. Like, that don't even, like, you're trying to tell me that the reason why people can't retire is because the letters have to go down a mine, and that all depends on how many people can retire. What kind of foolishness is that? I swear to God, man, I feel like they just seen something. They did it the other day. Did you see what they did the other day talking about the UK? So basically, my man lives on Twitter, and so anything he reads on Twitter is true. So he's on the UK. Gangs are going into hospitals with machetes and knives.
Yeah, I heard all that.
Bro, did you see the picture he posted? It was from the Dark Knight, Gotham City. He was trying to make out like that was going on in London. I was like, bro, like, what is wrong with this brother, man? Like,
America have that for America. Britain at the moment saying is the worst. So. Gangs and the Asian and the Muslims taking over. All kind of big speeches coming up. Social media driven, man.
But again, it's a narrative that they're pushing.
Yeah, that he's pushing.
Yeah, he's pushing it because he's trying to destabilise. Like, what did he say the other day? That he's going to fund Tommy Robinson to become PM. So, but again, that plays into the narrative of, because I think the Conservative Party is finished. And I feel like that's why they put the black girl in charge. I think it's going to die on her watch. Yeah, it's going to die on her watch. So they've just started that other party, and what's the other party? What's that new right-wing party, man? It's like the Conservative Party, but the new one that Nigel Farage is.
UKIP.
They got rid of UKIP. Oh, what's it called, man? Jesus. Anyway, there's the next party. The more I think about it, the more I'm not thinking about it. I'll come up with it in a minute. But essentially, a lot of the people are withholding money from the Conservatives now and giving that money to this other party. Like all the old school racists, basically. They've gone from there to over there. So I feel like they've give the black girl the mantle to let the Conservatives die on her watch. And then this new party is going to come into play. But yeah, let's continue.
So it looks like it's like a time warp. And then the speed, the limiting factor is the speed at which the mine shaft elevator can move determines how many people can retire from the federal government. And the elevator breaks down sometimes, and then nobody can retire.
Like, really? Like, I thought I was alright.
Doesn't that sound crazy? There's like 1,000 people that work on this. So I think if we take those people and say, like, you know what, instead of working in a mine shaft and carrying manila envelopes to, boxes in a mine shaft.
Yeah, listen,
and his connection, his whole lineage to the money and thing was just too upfront.
Yeah, but I kind of like, again.
They're doing it, yeah.
Nah, they're not doing it like Rishi did it, man. Rishi was a bit different. Don't get me wrong, like I'm not saying I like Rishi.
Rishi wasn't elected, was he?
I shouldn't say I like Rishi.
Wasn't elected, was he?
No,
that's what boils down to me. You come in and do your thing. Rishi came in like people voted for him.
No, I think 5 of our last 12 PMs haven't been voted in. That's not even a mad
that's
stat
why
in
you can't
itself,
come in like the big stepper and it. Boris get voted for in the end, innit?
Yeah.
The rest of them not get voted for.
I don't think
Boris
Gordon Brown was voted
pieces.
for either, was he?
Who?
Gordon Brown, when he was in. And then was Liz Truss?
No, he wasn't.
Was it Liz Truss?
Liz Truss wasn't voted for. But Gordon was Tony's appointment, innit?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but I don't think it was voted for. I think when Tony left,
Tony left before the end to leave time for Gordon to do the last 18 months in the hope that when they go to election, it would come to him.
Yeah.
But Gordon was a stiffy. They just couldn't work with Gordon. And him Scottish, them don't like that. So Liz Truss, she was just Charles finished her with one go. That had nothing to do with nothing. Charles just said, as the minute his mother dead, him say, you fired.
You're gone. She done some stupid. She actually messed up the whole country though. In that 14 days. Them predictions that she put out about the marketing and the housing was, I don't know if it was planned or whatnot to get her out, but that finished her bad.
It can't be true. Nobody up that high could be so grossly incompetent. It wasn't her bias. It was Iran the Draylit man and him a mathematician. Two of them couldn't be so grossly incompetent. That's what.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What was his name? The black brother, innit? But he was smart as well,
Accountant, innit?
Smart, bro.
This is what I say.
I've listened to some podcasts with him on, innit?
Him did that with her anyway. For him thing, innit? So I fear a man. So when Charles just run her, like me say, PM works for the king. Queen up till then. Queen appointed her this week. And okay, Liz, you go in, Charles. Queen, crack it. Charles just come in and say.
Right, let's jump back in.
You could do practically anything else, and you would add to the goods and services of the United States in a more useful way. So, anyway, so I think that's an example. Like at a high level, if you say like, how do we increase prosperity? Is we get people to shift from roles that are low to negative productivity to high productivity roles, and so increase the total output of goods and services, which means that there's a higher standard of living available for everyone. That's the actual goal. Everyone's very quiet, by the way. So are people normally this quiet?
Your detractors, Mr.
talking
Musk,
to, man?
I have to what?
including a lot of Democrats,
This is terrible.
I have detractors?
you do, sir,
I don't believe it.
say that
Why is
you're
Trump sitting
orchestrating
there?
a hostile takeover of government and doing it in a
His center
non-transparent
camera
way.
and Trump's on
What's
the
your
side.
response to that criticism?
Well, first of all,
a young Putin, maybe a
You couldn't ask for a stronger
Good
mandate
for Putin,
from the public.
Bundy.
The public voted. We have a majority of the public voting for President Trump. We won the House. We won the Senate. The people voted for major government reform. There should be no doubt
I
about
never
that.
knew
That
who
was
was voting
on the
for him.
campaign.
We won
The president
this,
spoke
we
about
won
that
the-
at every
I was
rally.
thinking-
The people voted for major government reform, and that's what the people are going to get. They're going to get what they voted for.
They never
And
voted
a lot of
for
times,
you,
people that don't get what they voted for. But in this presidency, they are going to get what they voted for. And that's what democracy is all about.
Mr. Musk, the White House says that you will identify and excuse yourself from any conflicts of interest that you may have. Does that mean that you are in effect policing yourself? What are the checks and balances that are in place to ensure that there is accountability and transparency?
Well, we actually are trying to be as transparent as possible. In fact, our actions, we post our actions to the Doge handle on X and to the Doge website. So all of our actions are maximally transparent. In fact, I don't think there's been, I don't know of a case where an organization has been more transparent than the Doge organization. So, and the kind of things we're doing.
Is he saying Doge or Donald Trump?
Doge. So basically, he owns that crypto company, and it Doge.
Yeah, but he was just using Donald Trump and Doge in the same sentence. They saying like he was blending them.
No, he weren't. He was saying Doge. He was saying basically that he's
Everything's reporting on the Doge website, non-government website, right?
Yeah, he's saying that there's transparency in what he's doing and everything. So
But in
I
website,
can say that. Oh yeah, but anything like you see doing, like it's transparent. I'm telling you now. Let's see if space. What happens with SpaceX and NASA? Because that's huge.
why?
Because that's huge, isn't it? How can you be in a listen? You got to put. You're in the Oval Office chatting to the man. Yeah. No one went getting rid of NASA before.
Did you see him chatting to Trump or is just chatting?
No, I'm just saying like
Right,
you've got the
so-
president's ear in it. So you're in
I
the
think-
Oval Office. I think they've definitely had conversations for you to be standing there.
I
next
think
to him.
Trump can understand what he's talking about, man.
But what I'm saying is, you're a major businessman. So let's see how transparent you are in terms.
Well,
of
is
your
Doge?
income. Tesla don't even pay tax in America, so I don't even get what he's talking about. This is the other thing. He's like, bro, what are you going on about?
And how can you be transparent on a private website? Transparency, like I said, you're doing government things at a government level, reporting on your own personal website. That's a woman say you're policing yourself. No, Doge is transparent. Is that the U.S. government?
Yeah, exactly.
Does the U.S. government have a website?
So I mean, he's got so many conflicts of interest that it's a.
The kind of things we're doing are, I think, very, very simple and basic. They're not. We're what I mentioned,
conflict for him,
for
just
example, about
conflict for
Treasury, just
everybody
making
else.
sure that payments that go out, taxpayer money that goes out, is categorized correctly. That the payment is explained. That organizations on the do not pay list, which takes a lot to get
He
there,
looks like-
that actually
that's
are not
actually-
paid, which currently they are
Zero
paid.
is like a genius. He never designed. He never made Tesla. He just bought into it. But you know what he did? He had he started PayPal, innit? So he always the way things are being paid is his little thing. Yeah, he started PayPal. So that's like how he became big. But I seen one thing with his dad the other day going like, yo, Elon's going on like he grew up poor and that, like he was self-made. He's like, yo, I used to drop him to school in like a Bentley and that. You can be like, he's like, his dad was like, I was a multi-millionaire. He went, don't get me wrong, he probably thinks that's poor because of the amount of money he's got. But don't let him ever make you think like he's not.
Him come from poor.
Yeah.
Paid, which currently they are paid.
Let me show you something. I found this AI plugin.
I'm just struggling with, like I say,
Heavy lifting for me. It's like having a.
why is he there? He ain't the president. It's the president's speech, and
These are not
Any?
individual judgment decisions. These are about simply having sensible checks and balances in the system itself to ensure that taxpayer money is spent well. So it's got
Why does he think he's American? He's not even American. That's what I don't know why that's getting on my nerves so much, but it's kind of like, bro, like I get it from you because America's the most powerful. You want to be the most. You know, when you get that much money, the only thing left to do is take over the world, really, ain't it? So you can only really become a super villain. When you have that much money, what else are you gonna do? Power and influence are the only things that can become attractive to you once you've got that much money. Because everything else you've got, you can buy, you can do whatever you want in it. And I think this is the phase he's in his fight, like just power and influence. I definitely think he's a racist, and I definitely think he's just trying to do some madness. But yeah,
I don't know what
nothing to
is.
do with, like, say, a contract for some company of mine at all.
But if there is a conflict of interest when it comes to you yourself, for instance, you've received billions of dollars in federal contracts when it comes to the Pentagon, for instance, which the president I know has directed you to look into.
Yeah.
Are you policing yourself in that? Is there any sort of accountability check and balance in place that would provide any transparency for the American
Why
people?
asking
Well,
Donald
all of our
Trump any
actions are
questions?
fully public.
Is
So
there
if you
any-
see anything, you say, like, wait a
somebody
second, hey,
that
Elon,
wants-
that seems like maybe that's, there's a conflict there. It's not like people are going to be shy about saying that. They'll say it immediately,
Including you yourself.
Yes. But it's
what kind of answer was that as well? Oh, basically, mate, you've just received
In so many words.
$1 billion from the Pentagon, but you've got a police who's anyway. Oh well, if there's any corruption in my company, I feel like people will just say, "What is that? Is that the answer you're gonna give?"
Mm-hmm.
There's no conflict. You're just gonna say, "Oh no, my company,
People are honest. Anyone who works for me is honest.
Yeah, he's like, no, my company's honest, man. Don't worry about it. We don't need to check nothing. Stupid, man. And Trump got fish face.
Well, what is Trump doing? I'm not understanding what's happening here. I can hear Elon doing his thing, but what is Trump doing? All that, this is what I say, he comes out with all these crazy statements. This is a chance to explain them. And
transparency is what
nothing.
builds trust, not simply somebody asserting trust. So not somebody saying they're trustworthy,
Make
but
America
transparency, so you can
great
see everything that's going on. And then you can see, am I doing something that benefits one of my companies or not? It's totally
3,
obvious.
2, 1.
And if we
On the
thought
latest
that, we
edition
would
of the
not let
Bloomberg
him do
Business
that.
Week podcast,
Segment
conversations with
for
Max
looking at
Chapkin of
area.
Business
If we thought
Week
there was
on
a-
Elon Musk's office.
It's totally obvious, okay? Transparent.
The other thing is, how is it obvious? Like, your man's just made 160. To me, that looks like you're doing something dodgy, bro. Like, yeah, like, how have you just made 169
Here to
billion?
make money.
Like, that looks like it needs to be investigated to me.
I think maybe the Trump thing is just a quick thing and them just gonna bump him off a couple of weeks into it because it's madness, man. Everything doesn't make a lot of sense. Not that they're not running corruption and the same machine's been driving for the longest time, so it needs a complete kickstart, spoke in the wheel job. But even in doing that, who is that geezer in the hat standing in the middle of the picture with his hand doing the thing, talking sentences that don't explaining something that nobody don't even know what he's talking about. Well, like I said, my man just was he waiting for his next 10 or something?
He's actually about to speak, so let's see what he's going to say.
But someone needs to speak. We've been listening to that fool. I don't know what he must say. Oh, I'll do what I want when I want. Power to the people.
It does remind me of my man, what is
Richard
it, Mike
Pryor.
Myers? Nah, Michael Myers, man.
okay.
You know, the Austin Powers brother. That's who it reminds me of. All right, let's have a look what Trump says.
Voted by
Lack of
OpenAI and
transparency or
CEO Sam
conflict of
Altman's
interest.
reaction
And,
to that bid.
We watched that also. He's a big businessman. He's a successful guy. That's why we want him doing this. We don't want an unsuccessful guy doing this. Now, one thing also that Elon hasn't really mentioned are the groups of people that are getting some of these payments. They're ridiculous. And we're talking about billions of dollars that we've already found. We found fraud and abuse I would say those two words as opposed to the third word that I usually use, but in this case, fraud and abuse. It's abusive because most of these things are virtually made up, or certainly money shouldn't be sent to them. And you know what I'm talking about. It's crazy. So, but we're talking about tens of billions of dollars that we've already found. And now a judge who's an activist judge wants to try and stop us from doing this. Why? Why would they want to do that? I campaigned on this. I campaigned on the fact that
near the start, he just says, we found 130 million. He actually put a number on it. Now it's tens of billions. And also, he's going, there's things that, no, I don't know. Like, to tell me, like, what
the people in the room know.
No one knows that. That's
They're
the point.
all in his gang, man.
That's the point. No one knows, bro. Tell us what you're talking about. Don't just go, No? Tell
He's
me.
draining the swamp. Like I said, they were extorting the money out through every orifice under Biden. And he's just nipping it in the bud and making sure it all goes in Elon's bank account.
Yeah, we get
In
that.
contrast to whole heap of different ones.
Just go.
And Elon.
I said government is corrupt. And it is very corrupt. It's very, very, it's also foolish. As an example, a man has a contract for 3 months and the contract ends, but they keep paying him for the next 20 years, because nobody ends a contract. You got a lot of that. You have a contract that's a 3-month contract. Now, normally if you're in a small, in all fairness, it's the size of this thing is so big.
One thing I will say, again, is I know stuff like that goes on. So, all that stuff does need to be nipped in the bud. See, the things like that, I'm not even bothered about them things. Don't like, yeah, man, do your thing. But I also know that a lot of the stuff they're talking about is chump change. You get me? They're not
In the
really
scheme
talking,
of things.
Yeah,
but
a lot of the things they're
collectively.
talking about is chump change, bro. Like, they're going to blow it up. But so the other day, they closed down a whole department, and it sort of stopped America sending aid to anywhere, and they're like saying, we're not sending no aid. That's like 1% of America's GDP, which is chump like change. But when someone says, it's 100 million, it's like, everyone goes, whoa, because most people ain't even seen 20 grand. So it's like, oh my God, that's like that much money. But that's not nothing. Like, I'm saying, like, really, if you're sending out 1% in aid, and they're like, we could fix like our homeless problems with all that. I'm like, no, you can't, brother, first of all. But it's just the language is what I'm saying.
It is, but what you're going to see is the overall machine is paying itself, and it's all that money being sent out and this and that is actually paying American people. The money doesn't go anywhere. It's just said it's been sent out. We found this because it's not lost. It never went anywhere. It was sitting there, people paying, like they says. Liz Truss in the job for a week. She gets personal security for the rest of her life. Everything she was in there for 8 years. And then Fiat Black Gruffy Teeth man, him get the same thing too. Just because them in there, why you never do good, you get sacked. So the whole thing, like I said, needs to be gutted, but what they reveal is what we can't control. So if it is a drain in the swamp thing,
it's good. Like, get rid of. Listen, we know politics, and it. When this is what I try and say, it's not that. Maybe you don't like Trump because of it. It's like, I believe the same of anyone, and it's not like I say like everything my man says is wrong, or everything my man does is bad. I believe that. Like, I think some things do need to be done, but my problem with my man is, I know he's a character who wants absolute power. So when you're that dangerous, you want absolute power. Absolute power corrupts. Absolutely.
are we talking about Elon Musk or Trump here?
I'm talking about both of them. Elon Musk is in the driving seat, but both of them want it. Like, and I bet you they'll have some kind of riff and fall out. That's what will happen. Because Trump's going to realise at some point, he's going to be like, yo, hold on a minute.
The nature of the arrangement, me want to figure ahead.
What's going on? What's really going on here?
He's
I
going
ain't
to
got
get
no
pulled
power.
on it, and Elon ain't going to stop himself making money, and you're not holding him accountable from the start. What do you think is going to happen? But by the time it happens, he'll be so rich, he'll just buy himself back into the next president as well. I think at this point, Elon Musk transcending the Jewish lobbies and thing, but that can only happen, like me said. The biggest lobbies is the Jewish lobbies. Elon Musk is on side with them and Donald Trump on side. Two of them rewriting the whole rule book, yes, sir. You know, but you wouldn't do that because the next day the Jewish lab would be up in arms and they'd be as if it impacted on them. So you know that it's a whole kind of Zionist thing and online, on-side. Both of them interested in the Riviera Israel connect.
I honestly think that, right, at the end of his time, right, I don't think he's going nowhere. I think he's going to do something, yeah, and just be like, do you know what?
He's too
I'm
old.
not going. Nah, man. Trust me.
I can't see
I don't
him
know how old he is.
dictating. 8 years from now, that guy will be 100, man.
Listen, they'll change the law or something and Elon will be president. Some madness, he'll just be like, yo, I've got complete control of this thing, like Elon's going to be president, or someone who they can run like that, but he's not going nowhere. It's going to be a Putin thing. My man looks up to Putin, you know.
Right, but the
He
money
sees
run the
Putin
thing.
like, you've
Them-
been in power for this long.
Who looks up to Putin?
Trump loves Putin, you crazy?
Yeah, because Putin's a businessman. He likes that
Yeah,
shit,
that's
but
what I'm
he
saying.
don't look up to
He
him.
does, man.
He don't, man.
He does.
I told you, America is so big compared to Russia. Power and scale and everything.
Yeah, but that's
man.
America, the country. Donald Trump is not bigger than Putin. He's now his president.
Businessman.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, now he's president. Yeah, but he had a business before.
Yeah, he wants to open
Yeah, but
hotels in Russia and it.
Putin can drop bombs, you get me? Like, there's a difference. Putin's got, like, real power and control, like, over the people. Trump's got power over his consumers. Now he's president. He's got just power over the people as well. So he's looking at Putin's model, like, yo, my man's model works. Like, he's probably thinking, like, my man's getting rich. No one can't tell him nothing. He's meant to be in a democracy as well. Remember, like, Russia's meant to have elections that I don't even know if they happen or they don't happen or what happens when they do. But Putin ain't been nowhere for like 20 years or something. So he's looking at that model thinking, you know what? I like that model. I'm going to see how we can run that so it works over here. Bet you.
Again, Putin sits at the top of a structure that was built up. You know, America have an existing structure which would need rebuilding.
But that's what they're trying to do, isn't it?
Well,
That's what I'm saying. That's
allegedly.
what they're trying to do.
But again, to me, it's a lot of gas without the thing, you know. What you're going to do, he's got so many balls in the air at the same time. You know, immigration, while, like me say, I like the straight talking.
The war's done, isn't it? Yeah, everyone likes to...
The
Listen,
straight talking to Zelensky and them fools. But then he ain't straight talking to the Israelis.
this is what I was just about to say, man. The straight talk is never straight talk. What you think is straight talk ain't straight talk. That's what I say to people. Like, everyone's like, oh, yeah, I like the way he says this. But we just said nothing. Like, this is what I'm trying to say. Like, last week, he's building hotels on Gaza. No, we're taking Gaza. We're going to do something with it. We're taking Gaza. You know. Then they're taking Greenland. Then they're doing this.
I don't know the Greenland thing, but Gaza, like I said, the proposal for Gaza is they want to build a new canal in it to go past the Somali problem, and them need to go right through Gaza. So whether the people is there or not there, that's what's gonna happen. That's Israel and America giant control upon that new canal, control that trade route. So the Palestinian them not gonna be there.
No, they're gone.
So the long-term plan, like me say, what they matter about, some of them can stop and live by the side. But the same way
they're
them
trying to force them into Egypt, isn't it?
well, no one's not going to have them anyway. The only place they come in is England and America.
Can I say something as well? That's a bit weird to me as well. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, we're all about like this solidarity thing, and everyone's going on about Palestine and that. But brother, like, you got like 5-6 Muslim countries around you, and I get they're trying to play it off as like, well, they shouldn't have to leave their homeland, but they are being forced out. So what's your problem? Like, I don't get it. Like, what's the problem? Like, yo, you're meant to be a Muslim and talking all this, but
Right.
what, you don't want the people to come into your land. What kind of madness is that? That don't
It's
make
not that
no
they don't
sense.
want them to come in. It's not that
No,
they
don't-
don't
no,
want
don't
them.
want them to
They,
come
no, it's not that. It's not that. Saudi, all of them will have it, but what's happening is, like I say, in the same way Israel started with Gaza, but they're in Lebanon and everywhere else.
That's probably just.
So there was in Yemeni and all these places as well before, but they don't report on those actions. You understand? They don't report on what they want. But the Israel brief is to get that whole region. They just started in Gaza. So the rest of the people are saying, well, you're going to draw down war upon us anyway. So why we attack all them people and then gonna come invade we afterwards? Might as well we just wait for the fight, innit? In my opinion. And if we take the people, we actually approve what you're doing. Why are we going to approve? We're not taking nobody. Why should we take them? You know, them
I'm
up
just
them
saying
land.
it realistically, yeah. The way I would be looking at it is,
Them should do something.
Yo, if I was there, well, you got to think about your people, I guess, but at the same time, I don't understand why they ain't just. I know they tried it before and they got beat.
Who?
Like the Arab states,
Right, the Arabs ain't
the Arab League.
Arabs haven't got a war, anything, right? So the Arab League, them done smash from 1940.
That's what I'm trying to
So-
say, but they could have rebuilt, like, between. Like, is it the only people who tried to do
Egypt,
something?
if Egypt had an army strong, it would be fighting Ethiopia right now, and it ain't. So its army ain't strong. It have an army, but it not fight Ethiopia. It's standing there. Them said them waiting to defend themselves against the Saudi incursion, which not Saudi, the Israeli incursion,
yeah,
which
yeah.
ultimately will come. So a lot of them are sitting there, but they're waiting for if Iran goes.
Well, this is what I'm
everybody's
trying to
off.
say, ain't it? Like,
But if Iran goes, America will bomb them straight away.
yeah.
You know, because Iran, again, Iran isn't that big, but the historical relevance of Iran and all them things kind of important because everything them claim to be come from Iran, the Aryan,
yeah,
the Aryan
100%.
whole ideology, and we is the this and that.
Well, it's
is
the
that.
Persians, and it was just an area in
Right.
like the south of Iran.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
we did a video on it, remember? The
Them
thing,
can
they stole
destroy
it, and then the
themselves
Frenchman.
and thing.
Yeah.
Trump hustler, straight hustler. To me, care about America. I don't think he care about America as much as the ability to make money. Because everything him do is to make money. But again, him don't have no track record for killing people. Him just make money, play jester. He's a court jester, but he makes money. He should have been locked up and he ain't. There to make more money.
Money.
Yeah.
But if you have a contract and you're in a regular business, you end the contract in 3 months, you know it's a consultant. Here's a contract for 3 months, but it goes on for 20 years. And the guy doesn't say that he got money for 20 years, you know? They don't say it. They just keep getting checks month after month, and you have various things like that, and even much worse than that, actually, much worse. And I guess you call that incompetence, maybe.
Yeah.
It could be corruption, it could be a deals made on both sides, you know, where the guy gets some money, he kicks, I think there's a lot of kickback here. I see a lot of kickback here,
There's a lot of kickbacks.
a tremendous kickback, because nobody could be so stupid to give out some of these contracts, so he has to get a kickback. So that's what I got elected for, that and borders and military, and a lot of things, but this is a big part of it. And I hope that the court system is going to allow us to do what we have to do. We got elected to among other things, find all of this fraud, abuse, all of this horrible stuff going on. And we've already found billions of dollars, not like...
So the NASA thing that you keep going on about. Now, NASA is another one of those agencies that's been getting increasing budget every year since it set up after the war.
It's all the
And they've
military.
never been in space. So,
Wow, you
yo, again, right. But me run with my opinion for now till somebody else prove otherwise. You know, Elon Musk try go up there the other day and him couldn't go in space. Get the ginger one too. He couldn't get in space either. So now, rather than that money which was going to the National American Sea something reporting on space product, Elon want control all that. You know, but to me, NASA never did anything. You know, they said they went to the moon and they lost all the film footage, notes and everything. NASA is the biggest fraud out there. You know, So Elon Musk and his SpaceX, he already went to space and said he couldn't get through. It's water up there. Elon Musk said that. So
Yeah. What?
them never get in space, did them?
No, I think they do, didn't they? Didn't they just fly a rocket into space and then land it, which is the first time that's ever happened?
They didn't get into space as far as I'm aware. They hit the water thing and came back down.
What water thing?
The firmament.
I don't believe in any of that. The space up there, man. Like people.
You reckon?
Yeah, of course I reckon. Yeah. I think the sun is somewhere, and I think the moon is somewhere, and I think there's planets, and I think there's a galaxy, a constellation.
What makes you think that though?
A solar system, evidence.
Television. With evidence was that, bro?
Yeah, books, evidence, television, whatever. Like people speaking.
But none of them.
than me.
There's no photos of it, Aaron, is there?
Well, how can you have photos of it? There is photos of it.
Of
Telescopic
space.
photos, yeah. Yeah, they've got photos of suns blowing up. I'll show you them after. Of course they do. Of course they do.
Show me after.
Oh, well, but you wouldn't believe it anyway. You'd be like, nah, it's digital. Yeah, you can still have a digital photo. Alright, let's have a look.
A little bit, billions, many billions of dollars. And when you get down to it, it's going to be probably close to $1 trillion. It could be close to $1 trillion that we're going to find. That will have quite an impact on the budget. And you'll go to a judge where they handpick a judge, and he has certain leanings. I'm not knocking anybody for that, but he has certain leanings, and he wants us to stop looking. How do you stop looking? I mean, we've already found it. We have a case in New York where a hotel has paid $59 million, $59 million because it's housing migrants, illegal migrants, all illegal, I believe.
And they were being paid twice the normal room rate at 100% occupancy.
Unbelievable.
So it's a racket.
Yeah.
Mr. Musk, can I ask a question? You
Well,
said on-
if I may sort of just going for the President's comments, at a high level, you say, well, how do you,
I bet he wouldn't complain if it
what
wasn't
are the two ingredients that are really necessary in order to cut the budget deficit in half from 2 trillion to 1 trillion? And it's really two things: competence and caring. And if you add competence and caring, you'll cut the budget deficit in half. And I fully expect to be scrutinized and get a daily proctology exam, basically. Might as well just camp out there. So it's not like I think I can get away with something. I'll be scrutinized nonstop. But with the support of the President, we can cut the budget deficit in half from 2 trillion to 1, and then with deregulation, because there's a lot of sort of regulations that don't ultimately serve the public good. We need to free the builders of America to build, and if we do that, that means I think we can get the.
You're scrutinising yourself. That's what you don't seem to understand. Like, no one's looking at you. You're looking at all this stuff, going, "Oh, we're looking into all the fraud stuff, my company." So, yeah, but who's looking at you? No one. You're looking at yourself. No.
That don't ultimately serve the public good. We need to free the builders of America to build, and if we do that, that means
It's gonna fix it at a cost, isn't it?
Maybe 3-4%, maybe 5%, and that means if you get.
I don't think they'll fix it. I think they're going to make it worse. Again, I think this is like Brexit. I think like when everyone talks about like the MP scandals, all the stuff that's going on with the corruption in Europe and immigration and basically everything that they're talking about was going on why we left the EU.
And then
Does your life feel better 10 years down the line? Let me ask people now, is your life better 10 years down the line from Brexit? I know it's not better. I know people are having the hardest time ever right now. House prices still soaring, immigration still going on, hospitals still overrun. So what happened to all this money that was coming back to us? So like, oh yeah, we're going to leave and we're going to get all this money back, or we're going to bring business back to Britain.
Didn't we get it in furlough?
What happened? Like, I don't know, but what happened?
That's furlough money, innit?
Well, there you go.
We lend you some money up front, pay us back over the next 50 years, bro.
Economic growth, and you cut the budget deficit by $1 trillion, between now and next year, there is no inflation. There's no inflation in 26. And if the government is not borrowing as much, it means that interest costs decline. So everyone's, the mortgage, their car payment, their credit card bills, anything, their student debt, the monthly payments drop. That's a fantastic scenario for the average American. I mean, imagine they're going down the grocery aisle and the prices from one year to the next are the same, and their mortgage, all their debt payments dropped. How great is that for the average American?
We had
That's
no
what we're
idea. We had no idea we were going to find this much, and it's open. It's not like complicated. It's
not
simple stuff.
complicated.
It's
a
like
lot of work.
We
Yeah.
can't believe it. A lot of work. A lot of smart people involved. Very, very smart people. But you're talking about anywhere maybe $500 billion. It's crazy the kind of numbers you're
It's really
talking
crazy.
about. You know, normally when you're looking at something, you'll find you're looking for 1 out of 100. Here, you're almost reversing it. You look for one that's good,
Yeah.
and you can look at the title, and you say, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And the public gets it. You know, the public gets it. You've seen the polls. The public is saying, why are we paying all this money? This is for years this has gone on.
President Trump, Senator,
Yeah, go ahead. Wait, go ahead.
Senator Rand Paul today said that Doge cuts will ultimately need a vote in Congress. Do you agree with that? Is that the
I
plan?
really don't know. I know this. We're finding tremendous fraud and tremendous abuse. If I need a vote of Congress to find fraud and abuse, it's fine with me. I think we'll get the vote, although there'll be some people that wouldn't vote. And how could a judge want to hold us back from finding all of this fraud and finding all of this incompetence? Why would that happen? Why would even Congress want to do that? Now, Congress, if we do need a vote, I think we'd get a very easy vote, because we have a track record now. We've already found billions of dollars of abuse, incompetence, and corruption. A lot of corruption.
If a judge does block one of your policies, part of your agenda, will you abide by that ruling? Will you
Well,
comply
I
with that
always
order?
abide by the courts, and then I'll have to appeal it. But then what he's done is he slowed down the momentum, and it gives crooked people more time to cover up the books. You know, if a person's crooked and they get caught, other people see that, and all of a sudden it becomes harder later on. So, yeah, the answer is I always abide by the courts, always abide by them, and will appeal. But appeals take a long time, and I would hope that a judge, if you go into a judge and you show him
I think it's the Department of Government Efficiency. So I thought they were talking about Doge as well when he kept referencing it, but yeah, they're talking about this, which is education, aid, basically everything.
Key expenditure.
Basically everything to spend money on.
here's a corrupt situation. We have a check to be sent, but we found it to be corrupt. Do you want us to send this
Yeah,
corrupt check to a
right.
person, or do you want us not to give it and give it back to the taxpayer? I would hope a judge would say, don't send it, give it back to the taxpayer.
Yeah, if I can add to that, what we're finding is that a bunch of the fraud is not even going to Americans. So I think we can all agree that if there's going to be a fraud, it should at least go to Americans. But a bunch of the fraud rings that are operating in the United States and taking advantage of the federal government, especially in the entitlements programs, are actually foreign fraud rings. They're operating in other countries and actually exporting money to other countries.
Hello, my name is Josh. and Today,
I wonder if that's China he's talking about there, or himself.
Allows you to ask
We should stop that.
Mr. Musk, you
And
said,
this is big numbers. Talking about $100 to $200 billion a year. Serious money.
Mr. Musk, you said on X
Yeah.
that an example of the fraud that you have cited was $50 million of condoms was sent to Gaza. But after fact check this, apparently Gaza in Mozambique, and the program was to protect them against HIV. So can you correct the statements? It wasn't sent to Hamas actually. It was sent to Mozambique, which makes sense why condoms was sent there.
Yeah.
And how can we make sure that all the statements that you said were correct, so we can trust what you say?
Well, first of all, some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. So nobody's going to bat 1,000. I mean, we will make mistakes, but we'll act quickly to correct any mistakes. you know, I'm not sure we should be sending $50 million worth of condoms to anywhere, frankly. I'm not sure that's something Americans would be really excited about.
Of course, you don't think that you got 13 kids.
That is really an enormous number of condoms, if you think about it. But you know, if it went to Mozambique instead of Gaza, I'm like, okay, that's not as bad, but still, you know, why are we doing that?
Mr. Musk, can you talk a little bit about how closely you're working with agency heads as you're directing these cuts? Do they have how much input do agency heads have when you're making these decisions?
Yeah, we work closely with the agency heads, yeah, there are sort of checks in place. So it's not just us just going in and doing things willy-nilly. It's in partnership with the agency heads, and I check frequently with the president to make sure that, you know, this is what the president wants to have happen. So you know, we talk almost every day, and I double check things to make sure, is this something, Mr. President, you want us to do this? Then we'll do it.
USAID has been one of your main targets. Are you concerned at all that some of the cuts or that shutting that agency altogether may lead to diseases or other bigger problems starting in other countries that then come to the United States?
Yeah, so that's an interesting example. So that's something where we work closely with the State Department and Secretary Rubio. And we have, for example, turned on funding for Ebola prevention and for HIV prevention.
Left that, you said?
Yes, correct. And we are moving fast, so we will make mistakes, but we'll also fix the mistakes very quickly. So,
do you see it as a worthy cause, USAID?
I think that there are some worthy things, but overall, if you say what is the bang for the buck, I would say it was not very good. And there was far too much of what USAID was doing was influencing elections in ways that I think were dubious and do not stand the light of day.
I can just ask the follow-up to the
So basically, a company sending aid, foreign company in America sending aid to other places influencing elections. That sounds a bit like a South African coming to the aid, giving someone 150 million to influence an election. To me, sounds like the same thing. Like, I don't know. I could be wrong.
Well, Trump's just been elected. Why would they be worrying about influencing elections at this point? It's just where they're spending the money. That's what they're trying to say. That's what's happening.
Yeah, I know
So
that,
there won't be nobody influencing no next election. Let's put it that way, bro. I think that's the statement there. What you said is probably true. There won't be any more elections.
The Pentagon contracts. If you have received billions of dollars in contracts from the Pentagon, and the president's directing you to look into the Department of Defense, is that a conflict of interest?
Yes, which we definitely need to do and are going to do at the president's request.
Does that present a conflict of interest for you?
No, because you'd have to look at the individual contract and say, first of all, I'm not the one, you know, filing the contract. It's people at SpaceX or someone who will be putting for the contract. And I'd like to say, if you see any contract where where it was awarded to SpaceX and it wasn't by far the best value for money for the taxpayer, let me know, because every one of them was.
The president said the other day that you might look at treasuries. Could you explain that a little bit? What kind of fraud, and that question goes to both of you, what kind of fraud are you expecting to see or do you see right now in U.S. treasuries?
Yeah, I think you mean the Treasury Department as opposed to Treasury bills, or...
You also referenced treasuries on Air Force One the other night.
Go ahead.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, really, the first order of business is to make sure we're actually collecting... Sorry for this. I thought my son might enjoy this, but he's sticking his fingers in my ears and stuff. So it's a bit hard to hear sometimes. Hey, stop that. No, the stuff we're doing with the Treasury Department is so basic that you can't believe it doesn't exist already. So for example, like I mentioned, just making sure that when a payment goes out, it has to have a payment categorization code. It's like, what type of payment is this? You can't just leave the field blank. Currently, many payments, the field is left blank. And you have to describe what's the payment for, some basic rationalization. That also is left blank. So this is why, the Pentagon, when's the last time the Pentagon passed an audit? I mean, a decade ago, maybe? Ever? Really? And we want to, just in order to actually pass audits, you have to have financial information that allows you to trace the payments. and once in a while, the Treasury has to pause payments if it thinks the payment is going to a fraudulent organization. Like, if a company or an organization is on a do not pay list, we should not pay it. I'm sure you would agree. Like, if it's quite hard to get on that payment, the do not pay list, it means that this is someone that is like dead people, terrorists, known fraudsters, that kind of thing. We should not pay them. But currently we do, which is crazy. We should stop that.
Many transactions, and by the way, hundreds, thousands of transactions like that. You know, we have a big team, and for the sake.
How else would they pay all them drug cartels for all the fentanyl that's coming in?
It's true. I was thinking that, how else would
I hope that the person that's in charge and the other people that report to me.
It's almost like, I don't know like who they're aiming at. Keep mentioning like terrorists and things as well. Like, I'm thinking, yeah, but who are you talking about? You're talking about terrorists, you're talking about the Saudis, so you do like big business with what you're talking about. Like you just said, the drug cartels, or was you talking about Al Qaeda when you was running their thing and paying them to do stuff with Russia? What do you mean? Like, I don't understand.
General statement, right?
Yeah, it's like who are you talking about?
We'll tell you as we go.
Of the country,
Mandela.
I hope that the person that's in charge and the other people that report to me that are in charge are allowed to do the right thing, namely make sure everything's honest, legitimate, and competent. But we're looking at just, when you look at USAID, that's one. We're gonna look at the military, we're gonna look at education. They're much bigger areas. But the USAID is really corrupt. I'll tell you, it's corrupt. It's incompetent, and it's really corrupt. And I can't imagine a judge saying, well, it may be corrupt, but you don't have the right. You got elected to look over the country and to, as we say, make America great again, but you don't have the right to go and look and see whether or not things are right that they're paying, or that things are honest that they're paying. And nobody can even believe this. Other people, law professors, they've been saying, how can you take that person's right away? You're supposed to be running the country, but we're not allowed to look at who they're paying it to and what they're paying. We have massive amounts of fraud that we caught. I think we probably caught way over a lot of billions of dollars already in, 2 weeks?
Yes.
And it's going to go to numbers that you're not going to believe. And much, as I said, much is incompetence and much is dishonesty. We have to catch it. And the only way we're going to catch it is to look for it. And if a judge is going to say you're not allowed to look for it, that's pretty sad for our country. I don't understand how it could even work.
On the buyout program, can you personally guarantee that?
Which one?
The buyout program, the operative federal workers. Can you personally guarantee that the workers who opt in to resign now will be paid through September?
Well, they'll get their money, but they're getting a good deal. They're getting a big buyout. And what we're trying to do is reduce government. We have too many people. We have office space. It's occupied by 4%. Nobody's showing up to work because they were told not to. And then Biden gave them a 5-year pass, some of them, 48,000 of them, gave them a 5-year pass, that for 5 years you don't have to show up to work. And let me tell you, this is largely, much of this stuff is because of Biden. It's his fault. He allowed this country, what he did on our border. What he did on our border is almost not as bad as what he did with all of these contracts that have come out. It's a very sad day when we look at it. I can't even believe it. But many contracts just extend, and they just keep extending, and there was nobody there to correct it. And that cannot be, I can't imagine that could be held up by the court. Any court that would say that the president or his representatives, like Secretary of the Treasury, Secretary of State, whatever, doesn't have the right to go over their books and make sure everything's honest. I mean, how can you have a country? You can't have anything that way. You can't have a business that way. You can't have a country that way. Hey, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Head down.
Coming back tonight. Mark Fogel will be at the White House tonight at about 10 o'clock. If you want to come over, you can say hello to him.
Did you guys get anything in return?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. What was your main take from that part?
There may be trouble ahead. Elon Musk, I know not what's going on with him, but he reckons he can see beyond the mirror. I think corruption's probably so deep in America, you've got to bring a South African in who's
Out.
to be able to take it. But I'm sure he doesn't come at a cheap price. It's probably going to cost the same as finding it as what it was going on in the first place. It's going to be an interesting presidency, bruv.
It is going to be
You know,
interesting.
change was happening anyway. Whatever change there is taking place, they're not really telling us clearly or in any way. But you know, the world has repositioned and realigned itself in several ways. Now, the BRICS thing, new presidency, biggest threat in the world to America at the moment is BRICS, not mentioned. He's talking about checking, you know, accounts and stuff in America. Ukraine is not a threat in any way, shape or form to America. It was just something going on that they were involved in from a distance, whereas BRICS is a direct threat to fiscal policy in America, but not mentioned once, not even a concern for the new president.
Well, I guess they've got to get round to it, innit?
Huh?
I guess they've got to get round to it. I guess they've got to probably be a bit more tenuous than that, because it's like Ukraine can't do anything to America.
Well, Ukraine ain't doing nothing. That's what I said. They
this is what I'm
chose to
saying,
involve
innit? So
themselves.
they've probably got, I don't know if they've got an idea what they want to do with BRICS, but whoever's running the
can they
show has
do?
probably just said, like, yo, don't even mention, like, because really he never mentioned Brazil, Russia, what is it, India, China and South Africa,
BRICS,
innit?
that's what
Yeah,
I
the
said,
BRICS.
BRICS.
So, yeah, we never mentioned none of them, to be honest. But to me, like I said to you, I think that people are just getting bamboozled by this. Oh, but we like what he says, like, he just speaks straight up. I get why that's appealing, but take it for instance now, you know, he's like saying, oh, you know, we're taking all these jobs, we're taking all the, if you're a company and you've got a factory abroad, you know, we're gonna charge. See, I don't get the factory thing, because there's two things, like you say, like the patterns of the the patterns of the world are changing right now. So we know, like, I personally think like the next generation is going to be the generation where you're not even going to need a working class. Like, you're not going to have like these big factories running things, because machines are just going to do it. That just makes sense economically. Like, even Musk knows that. It's why he's trying to have autonomous cars everywhere, because he knows getting rid of people in things like that is the most cost effective. So you're saying to people like, yeah, you got to bring your factory back here, it's going to create jobs for the American people. There ain't going to be no jobs in them factories for the American people anyway, so he's just conning you by doing that. That's one thing. Secondly, by bringing the reason why the factories are abroad are because it's cheaper. So actually bringing them back here means that manufacturers are going to raise the prices on everything. So actually, for the average person who, again, probably isn't going to have a job anyway because of AI, the cost of living is just going to go up. So essentially what you're saying to people is that, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to make manufacturers, or we're going to charge them. It's not going to matter. So it's irrelevant what you do in that aspect. So, yeah, I think there's definite change. I think we're just in uncharted territory, to be honest. I feel like when you put a madman in charge of the asylum.
Yeah, we've been here before. I don't
You
think
think?
it's unjust. Of course we have.
With who?
These people don't. They have a 100-year plan in it. They
Yeah,
know
yeah,
what's going to
100%,
happen long before,
100%.
and how it's going to pan out and what comes next.
I
and the likelihood
don't think
of this.
Trump was part of the plan. Maybe they managed to cut a deal in.
He's not playing in the game as a independent. He's definitely a part of the game.
I don't know, you know, I don't know if he is, man. I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if that's good
It's
or bad,
just a
but
different face on it, and it's still
the
had to
game.
do the interview and get the job for the man. You understand? It's not
Yeah, I
the
guess.
people
Yeah.
voted you in. You elected. You understand? People don't select; they just elect from the selected. So who selected him? You're gonna say popularity. The resurrection made him so popular they couldn't stop him. How did he get on the ballot? He wasn't. If he ain't on the ballot, how do you get on the ballot? Even though if you're the Elvis Presley, you can't become president unless someone puts you on the ballot. So, again, to me, them was Camilla and who our original opponents, them was beyond a joke. The whole Biden presidency, like me say, has been the Ukraine thing and washing the money. The whole Biden presidency has been entirely washing
Stick
money.
him in there just for that purpose.
Right. While that wasn't going on with Obama was bothering people. Biden no bother bother him, just wash money. Now, this one coming in, like me say, he's definitely on the team. He's not, he's
Yeah,
not
he's
an
on the team.
extrovert. I'm going to say radical times, some radical change needs to happen, and they want the American people to believe, you know, the little insurrection, food and ish and all them. This is not accidental, man. Police move and let them go in, all them things.
Are you on about the coup, the attempt coup?
No, when Donald Trump and his
Just
people
when he
took
tried to
over
get us-
over the.
But this is what I said the other day as well. Like, yo, what you realising is like, someone said to me, "Oh, nah, you'll never be like Russia. There'll always be elections." Always. I said, "Bro, like, didn't you see they tried a coup the other day when they run up in the state buildings with guns and all that? Because my man sent out a tweet." I said, like, come on, man. Like, people need to wake up. These things happen because people sleepwalk into them until it's too late, and then they're like, oh, snap, that really did happen. But yeah, you know what we're going to do? We're going to jump more into Donald Trump because I'm interested in his character. Definitely more into Elon Musk, the supervillain. And just what's going on in America, man. America's just moving shady right now, proper shady, so...
Well, I'm gonna go with world leaders are moving shady. We don't know enough about what everybody else is up to. They're all very quiet considering this big man is in the biggest power position. And he isn't, because Charles is a big player. All right, little cancer. But the empire don't stop running because the top man have cancer.
So yeah. Alright then, so we're going to take a look now. We're going to be moving to the west, so keep up, people, keep up. We out. Peace.